hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso. Gift magical mornings with Nespresso Virtuo Pop. Compact and stylish, Virtuo Pop is made to meet every morning coffee craving. From espresso to coffee, hot or iced, at the click of a button. And celebrate the season with Nespresso's limited edition coffee flavors. Sweet almond and hibiscus, cinnamon and candied tamarind, and festive double espresso. Magic in the making. Shop the holiday gift collection exclusively at Nespresso.com.
One of the great things about being a hypnotherapist is that I get to speak at some of the biggest hypnosis conferences in the world. I speak at HypnoThoughts Live in Las Vegas. I speak at the UK Hypnosis Convention in London. I speak at the Irish Hypnosis Convention in Dublin. And more recently, I've been at the the Mid-America Hypnosis Conference in Chicago. So I get invited to speak either in person or sometimes virtually. So I've spoken at the New Zealand Hypnosis Convention, for example, and various other association of hypnosis and NLP board. I've spoken at their conference. So when you do that, you get to meet loads and loads of hypnotherapists. And one of the hypnotherapists that I met very early in my conference career was at HypnoThoughts in Vegas. And it's now at the Sahara on the Strip, but it used to be at the Old Orleans just off the Strip. And they did this thing where they would have this kind of bowling night where all these hypnotherapists would get into teams. But that very first year, I didn't know anyone. So I just got matched with other hypnotherapists. And the guest hypnotherapist on today's session is a lady called Rene Brent. Very good, very competent hypnotherapist, but now known for fusing breath work and hypnosis. So it's not going to be me as your hypnotherapist in this session. It's going to be Rene, and she's going to be talking, and we discuss lots of things about breath work and hypnosis. But there is a little breath work example, a demonstration at the end, and I think you'll find it very profound and very useful. So get yourself nice and comfortable and relaxed, and enjoy. Hi, it's Adam here, and welcome to The Hypnotist. Now, I'm not going to be your host hypnotist today because I'm joined by a very special guest hypnotist, someone I met at HypnoThoughts Live about 4 years ago, Rene Brent. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Adam. Yes, you and I put together on a team for bowling, and off we went. We didn't know each other. Actually, we did pretty well in bowling. I think we had some tough competitors, but we didn't do too bad.
We did, and just going to set the scene for everyone. So HypnoThoughts is now in the Sahara on the Strip, but 4 years ago it was at the Old Orleans off the Strip, and there was a bowling alley like on the top floor of this kind of resort. And all the different hypnotherapists were kind of paired off into different teams. And I think there was about 4 or 5 of us, and we did pretty well. We scored well, I think.
We did. Yeah. That was a lot of fun. I do like to bowling. I'm sometimes an amazing bowler and sometimes a horrific bowler, but it averages out to about 110. So is my score usually. So that's not so bad, because sometimes I just lose the plot and I just gutter ball it. So
I have an interesting anecdote about bowling because I don't know if this is mirror neurons or social proof, but my uncle lives in Florida, and I visited him when I was about, I think, 19 or 20. And we went to a bowling alley, and there in Florida, in Fort Lauderdale, it was just, I think it was like midweek, and it was just filled with pensioners. Everyone's like 70 or 80.
Yeah.
And they're amazing at bowling. And I'm seeing strike after strike after strike. And it is the only time in my life I've got more than 200, because I'm just surrounded by these kind of really old dudes and women as well, just getting strike after strike. And something rubbed off on me, and I was just kind of getting all these incredible scores. And I've never been able to replicate it. Yeah,
that's
never been able to replicate it.
amazing. I love, oh yes, league bowling is huge around here. Huge. I'm in
Mm.
Florida, I'm in Orlando, and but anywhere, I've been in Illinois, league bowling is the deal. Now, I think sometimes it's an excuse to drink during the day,
Hmm.
honestly, but they're really good bowlers. They really are, but it's a lot of fun. Anyway, I'm happy to be here with you, Adam.
Absolutely. And I'm fascinated at how hypnotherapists become hypnotherapists because everyone's got a bit of a backstory. So tell us how you ended up in this wonderful world called hypnosis.
So this is interesting. I been a nurse. I've been a registered nurse. I did ICU, trauma, ER, recovery room. I loved being a nurse. I was very, very good at it. And I was trying to get pregnant with my third child. My other two girls were just like easy breezy. And then I wasn't getting pregnant with my third child, but I knew there was a third baby waiting for me. And I was driving my husband at the time crazy. And he sent me away to a spa in Miami. Well, there was this guy there who called himself the hypnotist, but I didn't know what that was, but I knew that I needed something. And I did 2 sessions with him. This guy I didn't know. I wish I knew his name today. And he helped me understand in the sessions, the 2 sessions I did, that the mind will not let you become something you disagree with. The
Mm.
subconscious will block us. And my true depth of who I was didn't believe I'd be as good as mom to the third child as I was to the first two, because there were times when
Mm.
I felt overwhelmed because they were 18 months apart. And he also did some clearing, he did some body somatic work. I had no idea what he was doing. And the next month, I got pregnant with my son, who's now
Wow.
28 years old. So I really understood the power of the mind. But I got busy and I left it alone and I didn't even think about hypnosis. And I would got divorced from a 20-year marriage, which was very hard for me. And anybody who's been through a divorce, all your listeners will know this, it sets you out of your comfort zone, kicks you out of your nest a little bit, which is very hard to do, but it's so good in many ways because what that does, we know, and I know now because I know mind-body connection, it weakens, it lowers this critical factor that kind of blocks the subconscious mind. This is why you feel so open and raw when you're going through a near-death experience or a diagnosis or a divorce, something that's very, very difficult. It
Mm.
opens you up, but now you can make change. And I was making incredible change. And I knew that there was something different that I wanted to do. And long story short, I was on a treadmill and didn't even have earbuds in. I was training for a marathon like every divorcee does. You're like getting in shape. You want to, really be athletic and youthful. And I saw a video of a hypnotherapist, a hypnotist who was being interviewed. And it was like boom, 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 boom. Everything came together me in that moment, Adam. And I knew that that's what I was supposed to do. I knew I was
Mm.
supposed to leave nursing and do something different. And that day I signed up for school. I never looked back. And that was almost 14 years later. And here I am
Mm.
doing
That's
this
very similar
incredible
to
work.
mine. Yeah, not with the breakup at the time, but I built a PR agency, and if you're familiar with Ikigai, you'll know this, but it's kind of the four Venn diagrams, and I was kind of like, I was successful, I was getting paid for it, and I was good at it, but I wasn't passionate about it, and then I kind of asked myself the question like, what is it that I naturally think about, naturally do, and there's no money involved. I just do it because I really like doing it. It was like, okay, hypnosis, hypnotherapy, NLP. And then literally the next day I signed up for a postgraduate kind of course. So when it
Yeah.
hits you, and some
Yeah.
people will be listening to this thinking, yeah, I don't really feel that way about what they're doing. But when it hits you, when it kind of makes sense, when the penny drops as to what you're meant to be doing, you
Yeah.
can move pretty quick and you can go from that place of feeling quite frustrated and unsure to very aligned very, very quickly.
You can. It doesn't mean there's not thoughts of oh no, what did I do? Or am I doing the right thing? That's not
Hmm.
it. You will feel it in your body when it's a yes. The body will absolutely give you a yes. It's more open, it's more broad, it's lighter. A no feels very heavy and very dense, right?
Hmm.
So in that moment, because I was so open, it just got me. And running, by the way, is very hypnotic, right? It sends off these endorphins and all of this that just quiet down the body. And I was definitely in a trance as I was running, and it just hit me, and it just aligned so
Mm.
beautifully. When I first started taking the class, the instructor of the school, it's a 500-hour course, and so it was all through the basics and then to metaphysical. And he talked about Dharma, right? And I just kind of rolled my eyes because at that point I was very closed heart. I was very science-based, right? And you tell me a word like Dharma and I'm going to roll my eyes at you, right? And I think about that so often now because I truly am in my Dharma. And Dharma just means that you're aligned to your passion, what you want to do, and you're actually doing it. And I get a front row seat, and you do your stuff online. I do have my office here, and I do online, but we get a front row seat to people understanding and clearing and releasing, and what I call becoming the boss of the subconscious mind. When we're not in the building, when we're not in our body and our subconscious mind, our automation is running the factory. So we got to get in the building. No boss would never. That was really bad English as an American. Someone who owns a company would always be in the building to make sure that things are running as they want, is fluid for the success of the company. Some people don't even do that. They never drop into their body to say, hey, I'm here. This is how I want to do that. Thanks, but no thanks. We're doing it this way now. So being the boss is really important. And I love doing what I do. It's a real honor.
Yeah, it's having that hybrid between manual and autopilot, and you don't want to be kind of fully present with everything because when
No,
people talk about mindfulness, it's kind of like, okay, if I'm tying my shoelaces or if I'm just kind of brushing my teeth, I don't need to be mindful when I do that. I want that to be
no,
on autopilot, but there's certain
exactly. Yeah.
things, that might be pleasurable or might be big decisions that you're making. You want to be fully present and you don't want to just go on autopilot for those things because this is how a lot of people get manipulated. And people think that you see people in a trance on a stage hypnosis show or in a therapy room. I see people in a trance on the London Underground all the time, staring into their phones. I see people queuing up in a checkout in a supermarket. They're in a deep trance. And when you're in a trance and you see that chocolate bar, that's a program running. That's a post-hypnotic suggestion. So it can be quite dangerous to kind of be on that autopilot too much because other people are making decisions for you.
It is. There's a difference between being on autopilot and being in trance state and being the observer of yourself and your life, right?
Hmm.
Because if I'm in a trance and I'm just chilling out let's say I'm in line and I look at all the candy, it's interesting because I'm the observer of what the magazines have on in the United States.
Hmm.
We have everything for sale there. It's all designed to get our attention. And someone who knows about programming, right, and suggestions, it fascinates me. The colors, the font, the pictures, all of it is designed to manipulate us into grabbing it and putting it down and spending our money. So it just fascinates me. But when you can be the observer and then become the boss, right? And make things conscious for a while and be the observer, like being on the side of a riverbank versus being in the flow,
Hmm.
right? That's a difference between survival and being the observer. When you can do that, now you could see what you want to change, what you want to keep. And then after that, now it becomes automation of what you want. When I
Hmm.
have to tell you, when I learned to open my heart through a lot of hard work, you have to do your work. I had to go in. I had to be in the building, so to speak, with my subconscious mind.
Hmm.
The first thing my instructor said to me was, we can only take people as far as we are in this work.
Meet the computer you can talk to. With Copilot on Windows, working, creating, and collaborating is as easy as talking. Got writer's block? Share your screen with Copilot Vision to help spark inspiration, and use Copilot Voice to have a conversation and brainstorm ideas. Or maybe you need some tech help. With Copilot Vision, Copilot sees what you see. Let Copilot talk you through step-by-step guidance so you can master new apps, games, and skills faster. Try now at windows.com/Copilot.
And I was like oh crap moment because I was
Yeah.
like, I don't feel very far, and I was just starting on my journey of healing, to be honest. So I got right into my own sessions in hypnotherapy and my own breathwork stuff. And I really understood that I had to, and I still do my own work. I still do when I feel like I'm stuck or another layer is coming up, then I will do ayahuasca or plant medicine or breath work or something like this for myself. Because when we think our healing is done, that's when the ego has stepped in my opinion.
Mm. Yeah, and it's almost like a little bit of when complacency kicks in, it's got an ace up its sleeve. It'll play a trick on you. It'll kind of test you a little bit just to kind of
Yeah.
see how much
Yeah.
more work you've got to do. So being humble, I think, is quite a useful, kind of quality in that sense. When we met in Chicago at the Mid-America conference, I didn't realize that breath work is such an area that you kind of specialize in. How did you get into that area?
So hypnotic therapeutic breathwork, the school that I went to is the only school that really trains in breathwork as part of its clinical package. It's 100 hours of clinical work. Why? Because the breath really kind of clears. I found myself personally, because I had such a closed heart, a lot of trauma when I was young, a lot of drug addiction. I have two siblings that died at 52, both of them from drug and alcohol. Mother and father both alcoholics. So I understand addiction. And I have a sister who's been clean for 40 years, and another brother. I have five of six. One who has never drank ever. He just won't do it. And I somewhere landed in this kind of moderation, kind of awareness, and I have a lot of gratitude for that. And so, but what I did to manage my life, I thought chemistry, and you just push it down. That's what happens.
Mm,
Every thought creates chemistry, and then we can't have time to feel it or even have any energy for it to stay safe. It all went in my physical body, Adam. So for me, breath work was the only way through my very analytical, science-based mind to break through. Because once after my divorce, after about 9 months, then that critical factor, right? The default modes really, gears up again. So I needed something that was going to release that and slow that down for me. And breath work was what did it for me. So I've done a lot of breath personally. And then I started studying all kinds of breath work. And I understood what I learned was great, but I wanted to do it a little bit more and combine more hypnosis and breath work. Because when you breathe rhythmically, it's closest to, I would say, transformational breath work. It's a cyclical breath, inhale and
mm,
exhale, no stop at the top or bottom. It's not holotropic. Holotropic is a little bit more chaotic and energy based. This
mm,
is really therapeutic. And when I started leading my clients through that, who were like me, right? We get who we are, right? And who were locked in a history of addiction or family of addiction, very analytical. I needed something. Traditional hypnosis wasn't going to do it. It
mm,
wasn't getting in there. They were just too guarded. And I started doing breath work, and then I would see these people open up, and I understood that's something, as I've been going through in the last, almost 14 years in the hypno world, I realized that there aren't many people doing it in their practice. And I
mm,
think we're missing a really powerful technique. So I started putting it all together in my own kind of package of what it is, hypnotic therapeutic breath work. And the last thing I want to do, really, my life is amazing, is start working harder. But I realized that I had to get out there and I had to train people. And that's what I do now, is
mm,
really kind of focus. I do a lot of other kind of hypnosis in my practice, but combining hypnosis and breath work in this way is just so healing. It quiets the nervous system. It releases somatic stuck energy, which I had, and people feel lighter. It's pretty incredible protocol. Have you ever done breath work, like cyclical, for like an hour?
I have, and where I came across it, because why I'm a therapist is I had severe social anxiety and probably, quite high level depression when I was like 19.
Mhm.
And I came across this kind of pranayama, this kind of like almost kind of ratio breathing.
Yeah.
And before I could get an app, I remember, because I'm quite a techie nerd, I kind of had this audio editing, and I just recorded breathe in, and then I had silence, and then I had hold, and then silence, and then breathe out, and then silence, and then hold. And then I had all these different variations of different lengths. And I'm really, and this was, I was around 19 or 20. I was really grateful because I would do it for such a long period of time, and I could get it to like breathe for an hour on one breath per minute. And I had no idea that I was really kind of building lung capacity and teaching myself to kind of breathe from the diaphragm. So, people compliment me on my voice now, but I think it all came from learning to breathe from the diaphragm
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and having that ability to kind of project the voice, because before then I was very very shy, very introverted, always mumbling my words, and it unlocked something. But I remember an early time of doing that. It was like 20, 25 minutes of these kind of very kind of like strict ratios and like one breath per minute. And I remember just like bursting into tears. And it's like,
Yeah.
where's this coming from? Like this
Yeah.
has nothing to do with breathing. Like this is meant to be powering my lymphatic system and all this kind of stuff. And it was just, where did that come from? And
What's
it, and
this
it
thing? Emotion. What are these tears?
yeah, and it dawned on me, like you said, like I think the English are quite well known for kind of like you sweep it under the carpet, you bury it deep, you don't bring it up. But if you do that, it's got to find its way out. And I think a lot of people that get into addiction and and destructive behaviors, they're trying to deal with the thing that's unresolved, down belief. But if you let it out, there's less things that you need to kind of do. And so I accidentally kind of came across breath work, but it was kind of very, very powerful and very useful for me.
It is incredible. And I love doing it one-on-one. I do it with groups, but I love doing one-on-one because I do work with people who've done other forms of breath work. This is a cyclical hyperoxygenating. But when they're with me one-on-one, now those motions, they flow
Mm,
out. Because what happens when there's a vibration that starts at about 15 minutes, and when that vibration starts, all that energy hits the muscles, and any energy that's stuck in there starts vibrating out and starts moving. I like to say it's
mm,
like a spatula under a stuck egg. And that energy that you didn't know that you were holding on from a car accident when you were 18 and your friend got hurt or your parents got divorced or whatever it is, that energy is in our physical body, right?
mm.
And that's science. I do come from a science perspective still. I tell people I'm not woo woo, I'm woo. I live in both worlds. I live in the science and I can't sit in a chair for this many years and it's evidential. The metaphysical at this point is evidential. I see the
Mm,
energy releasing. I see people change in front of my very eyes. So there's a lot that shows up in my room that I believe. But that energy starts moving and it clears and it leaves the fingers, it leaves the toes, and it quiets down the nervous system and it opens up our vagal nerve. It's just the the insight that people get and what I call the magic of the in between, right? When
mm.
people can get to that point, they release and the insight is pretty profound. And I find that I really like to do one-on-one with clients because it gives them the opportunity to release. They laugh, they cry, they pound
Mm.
a pillow. All of these things show up and they sometimes don't even know what it was that they released. And
Yeah,
that's okay. That's okay. Because when
absolutely.
you pull that root, now people feel lighter. They can't even find the issue that they came in. And it's always an honor when people really allow. I laugh when people apologize for crying. By the way, listeners, do never apologize for crying. Please, please, please never apologize for crying because it's important. It's important. It's our bodies. There's nothing in our physical body that's not designed. It's all really high-end real estate,
It has
right?
a function. It
It
has a
has a
function.
function.
And I,
And
and
there's a
I I
part of
remember
our
the
brain that's, yeah.
do you remember the first Inside Out movie, the Pixar
Oh,
movie?
yes.
That kind of that hits you because it's
Profound.
what one is a great metaphor for parts therapy and control room of the mind. But secondly, it's like sadness has a function,
Yeah.
and it is that cathartic release, and it's almost kind of like it kind of clears the decks and you can kind of recalibrate. And I think a lot of people, more often men, I think, than women, it's kind of like, oh no, I could never do that. But
Mhm.
actually, like if you need to, like, why not? Like that would be a
Yeah.
very, very kind of empowering thing. But for me, it's kind of weird that more hypnotherapists don't embrace breath work
Mhm.
because how often does a hypnotherapy session start with take a deep breath in?
Yeah. Yes. The breath.
It's intuitive with this is somehow to do with breathing. Breathe in relaxation, breathe out tension. There's this element of slowing down the breathing, activating the parasympathetic nervous system. So it should be, a tool in the toolkit for every hypnotherapist to learn more about this.
It absolutely should. It's why I'm out there. What I found, which was fascinating to me, because it's always just been part of my hypnosis career, because I learned it in school and I'm an instructor for that school for the last 13 years. So I've
Hmm.
taught it and I've done it, right? So I never understood there is a belief system within the hypno community that it's meant for yogis to do. It's meant for people who are to do the breath work. Those are the people who should be doing breath work, and we shouldn't be doing it. But I fundamentally disagree. Why? Because hypnotists, we already have the training, we have the protocol. I am completely confident that whatever comes up with someone, maybe it be a memory, maybe it be an attachment, maybe it be a part, whatever's going to show up for someone, an emotional state, I got the tools, right? This is why I'm so excited to share it with people and hypnotists and the hypnotherapy community, because we're set up to do it, right? And group breath work, people let loose. And if you don't have somebody that's there to be able to manage, it can be a little re-traumatizing, to be honest. You have to be ready for anything, and you have to take it very seriously when I do it. I have to be completely present to my clients when we're doing breath work. But man, it is incredible modality. It really is in all aspects. Somatic, it's really neurosomatic healing. It really is. And it doesn't even have to be content driven, which is beautiful sometimes, because I have people like, I feel crappy. How do you want to feel? I don't want to feel crappy anymore. That's all they got. For me personally, if I cried, it was weakness. And I had experiences, if I cried, then I was weak. So I learned very quickly to turn that off because it wasn't safe, right? So to feel safe and to be able to allow emotion is such an incredible freeing experience, but also so healing. You don't want your body to hold on to that. Why not let it go? Why not let it go?
Absolutely. And one of the, I would say, ambassadors of breath work in the last, decade or so has probably been Wim Hof, who,
Yes.
is kind of known for, pretty incredible feats, almost like some would say superhuman feats, kind of going up to, top of Everest, without any clothes on, and,
Yep.
swimming in kind of freezing cold rivers and all of this kind of stuff. And he attributes a lot of that to breath and kind of almost stimulating, certain kind of features within his body. What's your thoughts on his approach to breath work and what hypnotherapists might take? Because I think the kind of the adventure community has kind of embraced that, and the kind of, the kind of people that are up for the grind, 4 a.m. wake ups, cold plunges have really embraced that. Do you think it kind of it works with the hypnotherapy community?
So Wim Hof is interesting. By the way, Wim Hof only started training because he just was bombarded so often by people wanting to know what he did. And the Wim Hof breath is different than the cyclical breath that I do, but it does have a place for sure. And some people really resonate with Wim Hof. But that's holds and breathing and holds and breathing. What he's doing is really definitely downgrading the default mode. He can do those things. He can jump into a freezing river or hike barefoot, in a mountain. Why? Because most people can. But that fear factor, that default mode that says, no, this is not safe, you are going to die if you do this, takes over.
Yeah.
And then you're very primal and nothing is helping. The breath bypasses that. And now you can get to the state and train to do that, which is beautiful. It has a different access. So what I do with when I have a breathwork client, I will tell them there's two things that you can do, and I want you to see which one works best for you. You can do 5 minutes of the cyclical breath, and that will, if I need energy during the day, let's say, and I don't want an energy drink, so to speak, I will do a few minutes of breath work because it just stimulates everything. But it clears and it opens up and it quiets down the nervous system. So my anxiety clients are doing 5 minutes of this breath on their own. It's a little hard to do it more than that. But I also have them go find someone doing Wim Hof. There are a lot of people doing Wim Hof. There's a lot of videos doing it. You got to just make sure that you resonate with the person that's teaching you how to do it. I suggest people in the beginning watch a video, because it's easier to follow and people are visual and innately. So watch a video and see which one resonates with you more, Wim Hof or this kind of breath, or find a breath in general that works for you, right? I do this in a therapeutic setting. I do it in groups as well, but for everyday use, I would say you have to find your own breath. But most people clench their jaw and hold their breath. This is what we do to suppress our experiences, our emotion, and we clench our jaw. When we clench our jaw and hold our breath, we're squeezing on the vagal nerve that runs from our our spine. It's a cranial nerve, 10, to our heart and our gut. So when we clench our breath and hold our breath, you're squeezing on the vagal nerve and you're sending a message, fight or flight, we're in danger, danger, danger. So you're pushing on the gas pedal for this anxiety, this fear-based. And I have to always say this, every podcast or TV show I do, anxiety is not an emotion. Anxiety is a symptom of usually anticipatory fear, right? I want people to know that. It's a really clear message. So if you're not labeled as anxiety, don't use it. It's a big word that's not yours to hold on to. Use the word fear. But when you bypass all of that and you move forward and you deregulate, now everything can quiet down. And it's pretty profound when people do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just
speaking into the void?
But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
How many people are in this kind of sympathetic nervous system? Because I think we're surrounded by stimulants, lots of caffeine and lots of kind of dopamine and all of these things that keep us hyper alert. And I think because of that, you get all of these kind of thoughts of what's going to happen, what's the next shoe to drop, and that keeps people in that state. And most people are breathing very shallow from the chest, never really activating the diaphragm. And then it just means that you can kind of have more of that. And I think it's a great, whatever way you do it, breath work, hypnotherapy, meditation, good relaxation, but kind of having that calming element so the brain can just don't need to panic. It's safe. I can just relax.
And a very simple way to do that is just pay attention to your jaw during the day. Relax your jaw. And before we end, I'll teach you your listeners an incredible tool to be able to do that. But when you relax your jaw and you take conscious breath meanings, you just pay attention to the rise and fall. You feel yourself in the chair. You feel the air coming in. That's a conscious breath. A big breath in and a sigh is incredible. It's so funny when I've trained myself on this automation to take a breath like once every 20 minutes or something. I just do it. But if I am in public or even around a friend and I said, you okay? Because people think a sigh means that I'm in trouble. Actually, a sigh is a release. It's the body's natural way to release the tension and to release the tension in your jaw. So just do it on your own. Consciously breathe. Take that full sigh breath, just really feel it, and then also relax your jaw. When you do that all through the day, in the evening, you'll feel more present, you'll sleep better, you won't be looking at your phone, you won't be eating more sugar, you really make better decisions when we're fatigued at the end of the day. If you relax your jaw during the day, and every time you relax your jaw, by the way, you're in the building and you're telling your subconscious mind, we can quiet down now. We can quiet down now. And that's the magic of the in-between, for sure.
And I imagine people sleep better as well, because if you are in that kind of high alert, hypervigilant state, not good for sleeping, whereas if you've got that kind of slower, more kind of relaxed, and you've got that kind of rhythm, much easier to get into different brain waves and kind of drift into sleep than if you're kind of constantly on edge, which a lot of people are. A lot of people are checking their phone literally 10 seconds before they fall asleep. It's in that kind of very kind of analytical, present, kind of way of thinking.
Absolutely. Relaxing, doing some breaths before you close your eyes is pretty incredible. I became a sleep expert in this work only because I was finding that if people are not sleeping, the brain doesn't feel safe enough to create change. So one of the first thing I do is help people sleep before they even get in my office. Why? Because if you're in fight or flight or survival mode, you're not going to go down in deep and allow yourself to go into it. So I like to say sleep happens in the morning when you wake up. So when you wake up in the morning, pre-program each morning before you open your eyes, because we're in a slower brainwave. That's all hypnosis is. That's all meditation is. We have more access to our brain. Before you even open your eyes, you just tell your subconscious mind what you need for the day. I need to eat clean, or I have this meeting, or, I'm meeting Aunt Millie for Thanksgiving, or wherever we're going for a holiday. Just give direction, because that is you having a team meeting with your inner company, your inner dialogue. And now you've set the tone. But if you don't do something in the morning when you open your eyes, before you open your eyes, you're on what I call an emotional groundhog, Adam. You're just inserting the same thing day after day after day. And that if people pre-program in the morning and then they relax their jaw and they do some breath, some conscious breathing during the day, they absolutely are going to sleep better at night. There's no doubt about it.
Amazing. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of people listening curious about breath work that we're talking about and your way of doing that. So do you want to guide us through a type of breath work that you do so that we can experience it?
Absolutely. I would love this. So what I'm going to do, the hypnotic breath work that I do is I'll put someone into a light trance. So I'm going to start everybody. Please don't do this while you're driving or you're in any dangerous operating equipment, all of that kind of stuff. I have to say that I live in these states, we have to make sure that we're covered legally, right? But also I want you to be able to close your eyes and really enjoy this. I'm put them in a light trance, which is the alpha sequence that I just taught a little bit of before. And then we'll just do a minute of the breath. And I have to tell you, if you do this, if you practice this, you're going to quiet down everything and just feel safer and more present in your life. So go ahead, everybody, just close your eyes as you can. Just go ahead and close your eyes. As you close your eyes, just relax your jaw, drop your jaw down. Remember, when you relax your jaw, you're quieting down your nervous system. Now I want you to soften your tongue. Your tongue's directly connected to the language centers of your brain. So when you drop your tongue down a little bit, all that internal dialogue begins to quiet a little bit, and that's okay. Relax your jaw, soften your tongue, and now consciously breathe. Feel the rise and fall. Maybe if you understand diaphragmatic breathing, you can breathe from your diaphragm to your chest. Feel the rise and fall of your chest, the breath coming in and just being, and you may even feel now or in just a moment, your shoulders or your body relaxing. Feel yourself in the chair. Every time you feel yourself in the chair, you know you're safe. Now, go to my favorite place, this place in the top of your head, this space in your head. I call this the free zone, the safe darkness. Imagine you popped into this space in your head as you relax your jaw, soften your tongue, and imagine you could see all the way around you, above and below, even behind you, in this space and the space beyond that. Now, thoughts are going to come in. That's okay. We're people who think. It's beautiful. But if the thoughts come in, just imagine they drop away into this abyss of nothingness. Expand and breathe in this space. In this space, there's no body, no thing, no past, no future, a free zone, neutral, if you will. And this is a great place to start the breath work. And what we're going to do is breathe through your mouth and out through your mouth. From your diaphragm to your chest and out, in through inhale. Breathe with me. There's no stop at the top or the bottom. Now, the first bit, you're going to be yawning. You may feel a little lightheaded. This is all normal. This is your body adjusting to the lower CO2 and the higher oxygen level. It's very safe. No stop at the top or bottom. Keep breathing. Concentrate on your breath if your mind gets busy. You may feel a little lightheaded. This is physical in the beginning. This is you said, ooh, this is going to be good. Yes, breathe. Breathe, Adam. Good. We breathe through the mouth and out through the mouth. Why? It's a bigger hole. You get more oxygen. A little bit deeper breath. Good. Inhale and exhale. Good. Letting go of that which does not serve you. You are safe. And breathe. Your mouth might get a little dry. That's okay. It'll adjust. Kind of like a fountain. You don't have to push it out. Just let it fall naturally. And breathe. Setting the tone for the rest of your day. You don't have to know what you're releasing. Good. Letting it go. Just a little bit longer now. Good. This is just a little sampling. Now take a breath and hold it as long as you can. Normalizing, but also letting the mind, the body, the heart, and the soul know, I am listening. We can quiet down. I am safe. And as you release, imagine a beautiful energy, almost as though you're in the beautiful sun, quieting, cascading from the top of your head down to your feet. And in this space, let it soak in, quieting your mind, releasing what doesn't serve you. Let it move out your fingers, opening up like a faucet. Let this energy flow out your fingers, letting go of any patterns, beliefs, behaviors that no longer serve you, any blocks that you may or may not be aware of. Let it flow through and out, releasing and letting go, knowing every day that you are good and good enough as you are, learning and growing, important and valuable. I'll count from 1 to 5 to bring you out. 1 coming back. When you open your eyes at 5, you'll know something is beginning to change within you. 2, clear-headed, feeling more energy, more aligned. 3, rested and refreshed. You can remember this entire thing. Go back to it whenever you choose. 4, that beautiful energy continue move through your whole body and mind. 5, eyes open right back here. Regular waking consciousness. All right. I can't talk to your audience, but how did that feel for you, Adam?
Yeah, it felt great. And yeah, I think yeah, just getting into that rhythm, it felt, and now when I open my eyes, like I feel way more alert than I did,
Yeah. Yeah.
even just, 10 minutes ago. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So I'm in
fascinating.
between clients because I have busy days, right? I move one thing to the next. I will stop and do even a couple minutes of this breath, and it quiets everything down, but also it gives access to these parts of my brain that when we're busy, 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 and we're just in survival, that aren't fully lit up, so to speak. So when you can do just a few breaths, it's very, very important. But everybody relax your jaw. How'd that feel to relax your jaw?
Yeah, really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. So imagine doing an hour of this. It is
Mm.
it is trippy. At about 40 minutes, you're really opened up. You're vibrating in this breath, but also what's happening, you're priming the spinal fluid up your spinal column, and it hits a pineal gland, and now you have all these endorphins, all this dopamine running through your brain, and now you are just, people often see colors. They have deep, deep insights. They I don't know, speak to dead grandma. It's just what anything can happen when you're in this
Hmm.
state. And I am for it. I love it. But more importantly, not one client that I've done, thousands of clients have said, I feel so much lighter. And we don't understand the heaviness of what we carry from our past. So why not just begin to let it go?
Very fair. I noticed your Apple Watch there. What impact does this kind of breathing have on heart rate and things like that?
It's interesting. It will elevate in the beginning. I have an Aura ring too, so I keep track. So it's been
Yeah,
really
me too.
interesting.
Yeah.
It elevates, it will see a slight stress taste, and then it will drop into a really relaxed kind of re-engaging state. It's pretty interesting. But in the beginning, because the first 10 minutes, and your listeners might have experienced, there's some resistance. We're just
Mm.
not used to breathing this way, right? So
Yeah.
there's some resistance. Also, it's the subconscious mind's alarm bells have gone off because it's, oh no, she's in the building, she's listening, the boss is here, and everything starts amping up, and we get a little nervous. So that's built in. So when I do my education for my clients, and by the way, I'd love to offer you a session with me if you'd like to experience a whole hour of breath work. I'd love to do
I'll,
that with you.
I'll take you up on that. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
can
I'd be
record it
happy
if
to
you
do
want,
that.
and we'll
Oh,
share it
that
with
would be
everyone.
fantastic. Yeah, let's do
And
that.
does the Aura Ring interpret it as sleep when you do this kind of breath work, or it
No,
treats it as a
no,
waking state?
no, it's too activated because you do have some internal vibration that's going on,
Yeah.
right? Your body is rested, but people always ask if I have vibration on my hypno chair, and I'm like, no, I do not. And they see orbs, these all kinds of incredible things come in when people that they unexpected when they quiet everything down. But the heart rate will go down, but it's not sleep. People get very relaxed. I actually sometimes use the first 5 minutes of this breath to do induction with a regular hypnosis thing. I will start doing the breath to kind of bypass some of this stuff for people who have a hard time dropping into trance. I will use
Amazing.
this as an induction. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. And if anyone's curious to learn more about you or experience one of these kind of hour-long sessions, where can they go for more information?
So it's Rene, R-E-N-E, Brent, B-R-E, N as in Nancy, T as in Tom, hypnosis. I never thought I have to spell my name, but people don't hear the word Brent, so I always spell my name. And you can go to my website or you can contact me at Rene Brent Hypnosis at iCloud.com. I'm happy to chat with anybody. They can set up a call, set up a 30-minute Zoom session if you want to learn more, all of that kind of stuff. But I truly love what I do, and I'm here. I am passionate about breath work in my practice, in my own personal life, and then training other people to do it. The world needs breath work.
They absolutely do. And what we'll make sure is that in the show notes, we've got a link to your website. So if anyone's curious to learn more about Rene, they can look there in the description, check out Rene, have a chat with her, learn more. And when we actually do our session, I'll share that as well. And we'll have your link there as well. So you can,
if somebody's a practitioner, excuse me, I didn't even talk over you, and they want to learn more, I will also send you a link so they can get a workbook that I give out when I do a lecture, like a 15-minute lecture. And that way they can understand the structure and beginning learning more about it. But I'm always happy to talk about it for sure.
Amazing.
Thank you for this today, Adam.
More than welcome. It's great to have you on here, and it feels like a big kind of circle of life, because you were one of the very first people I met in Hypnothoughts in Vegas. So great to see how well you're doing and how well you're helping people. Kind of practitioners as well as kind of clients is wonderful to see. So Rene, thank you so much for joining me on the show today.
Thank you for what you do, Adam. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of The Hypnotist. If you've enjoyed this episode or got some value from it, please give it a 5-star rating and review. And maybe you know someone that would also benefit from this particular episode, in which case share the episode with them so they can also get the benefit too. And if you would like to listen to this episode where it's just the hypnosis, so no intro, no outro, no explanation, just the hypnosis and completely ad-free, there will be a link in the description where you can subscribe at a very low cost and only get access to the hypnosis. So if that's of interest, please check that out. Thank you again for being a regular listener of The Hypnotist, and I'll see you again soon for more.